Hey guys, it's Jen, and I am here to just show you my process, my hybrid process of creating a project life spread. This is my week 7 spread, the week of February, let's see, I think it's 13th through the 19th. I do Monday to Sunday. And I just wanted to show you a few things that I'm going to do. I'm using the Ali Edwards March 2017 kit, digital kit. Each month she releases a really cute kit. Some of it's kind of themed for the season and things like that. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to use this kind of springy, rainy day kind of kit just for my project life. And then I'll also be creating a layout. But I wanted to show you my process here. And you can see I have a photo open here. Now I am doing a full-size 6x8 photo for this particular story. And so I've already cropped this photo down, and you can see that I've actually already created this, but I wanted to show you what I did, what the process was that I took to create this little 6x8 photo. So I have the photo open, and what I did was I just cropped it down. So first I go to my crop tool and I change the width and height to 6x8, and I want it at 300 pixels. That's what I always choose for printing. And then I just kind of adjusted it until it was kind of where I wanted it to be. I want a little bit less of the bottom in there. I want more white space towards the top. So that's something I was keeping in mind. And I wanted to kind of crop some of the other junk out of it. So this won't be exactly the same as the one I already created, but this is just to show you how I got there. So that looks good to me. I'm just going to go ahead and click the checkbox that it's okay. And the next thing that I did was I decided that I wanted to use it's a digital chipboard piece, essentially. So let me open that and I'll show you that. Let's see. Here's the March kit. I'll go in the chipboard folder, and there is a piece here that says, here's the story. And I wanted to use this, but I noticed right away that the black was going to be a little too heavy. I'll just show you what I mean. Let me just make it a little bit smaller. What I like to have things open in separate windows, because then I can just drag from one window to the other. And if you need to figure out how to do that, you just go to Window, Arrange, and then do Float All in Windows. But anyway, so here's the piece, and it was a little bit large. So I was going to shrink it down and stick it over here on the side. But I thought that the black was really heavy. I like the colors of this photo. They're kind of muted. And so I thought that the black wasn't quite exactly what I wanted for this. So I decided to inverse the colors. And so let me show you how I did that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And I'm going to go back to my little digital piece here. And this is the way that I did it. And I am self-taught on Photoshop. I don't know the rules of how you're really supposed to do stuff. I just figure things out and then make things work for me. So this is what I did. I went to Image. I went to Adjustments. No, I went to Layer. Layers. No. I did go to Image, Adjustments, and I did Invert. And when I inverted it, it made the background gray instead of white. So just to fix, I could have left it gray. I think it would look okay gray, but I wanted it white. And so just to fix that, I just grabbed my paint bucket tool here, and I am going to, you can see there's black and white. Black is the foreground color and white is the background color. I'm going to switch it so that white's the foreground color, because that's the color that my paint bucket's going to use. And I'm just going to fill it in with white. And so I'm just clicking inside the O's and the R's of this to make it the color that I wanted. So that's how I switched the color for this particular piece. And then I was able to drag it onto my photo. And what I decided at this point, that it would be super cool to, let me just make this a little bit larger. I thought it would be super cool to put this, so my original thought was to just put it on the side and then do some typing on the left of it or something like that, because this is like a little flag piece and it looks like it should go on the side. But what I decided instead was to do something a little bit different, and I decided that I would type my journaling so that it looked like it was the other half of kind of a diamond shape. So I'm moving this so that the center of, or the edge of it is in the center of my photo, and you can see that my guides kind of click on to that. I've got that purple line, so I know that that's the center. And so I've got that piece there. Now I want to do my typing in kind of a triangle shape on the other side. And I thought about it for a while how I would want to do that, but what I ended up deciding was the easiest thing for me was I went back to my little piece here, my little chipboard piece, and I'm going to flip it horizontally so that it's facing the other direction. So I went to image rotation, and then I did flip canvas horizontal, and that just flips it so that it's pointing the other direction. Now these words don't matter because I am just using this as a guide for when I type, but I want them out of the way. So I'm going to just grab my paintbrush tool, and I've got white already selected, and I'm just going to white out these little pieces. And if you wanted to, you could definitely keep this like white piece and type on it and leave it so that it's white on the on your canvas. So you can see there, I've got it all completely white, and you could just type here and that would be fine too, and leave it the white. But what I had decided that I wanted to do was to eventually delete this piece. So I just grabbed my text tool and I started at the top. I used an 8-point font, which is really small. Courier New Regular is one of my favorites. It's just kind of a typewriter font, comes on all computers. So I just really like it. And what I ended up doing was just typing, oops, I've got to switch this to black. There we go. Just typing words. It is the best time of my entire life. And I just stopped and hit enter on my keyboard when I came to the edge of the triangle shape. So this isn't anything really like technical to it, and I'm sure there's a way that you can actually type within a shape, but I just used my return key and kept typing until I filled in all of the spaces, and I just went as close to the edge as I could without making it go across the line, if that makes sense. So then after I was done with the typing, I went ahead and just clicked back on that triangle piece and deleted it. So now I have the inverse of it, and you can see it on this finished one here. I've got it all typed up, and it's in that same shape, and I'm thinking about, once I print it out, just drawing a line. I'm not sure if I'll do that for sure yet, but I thought that was a nice look. So that's kind of how I created that. And then at the bottom, I just typed out the word midway, and I'm just using the empty space on the bottom. That's the place where this me and my friend went on a little weekend trip to Midway, which is just a little mountain city near where I live. And I'm going to write the word getaway in scripty handwriting after I print the photo off. So I'm just knowing that and leaving some space below it where I can write that. So that's kind of a long explanation of how I did this, but I think that people have asked me to show these kinds of things more often. So I wanted to go ahead and show you how I'm doing that. There's another couple of things that I'm going to be using for this spread, and I wanted to just show them to you quickly. So I'm just going to go ahead and minimize these. This is a photo that I'm going to use for my date stamp. Like, I always put my date in the top left-hand corner, and I'd like to use a photo from the week that has a lot of white space. So I'm going to use that, and I wanted to put this Stories of Life. This is from the stamp set that's included in the digital kit this month. And I wanted to put that on top of the photo and then stamp my date below it. And so I think that I want to change the color of this. And what I like to do, actually, you know what, I might not. I really like a lot of black and white, and then I'll put pops of color in either with the photos or sometimes with embellishments. So I think what I'll do is I'll just put it on top of the photo. And when I drag it onto the photo, I've already cropped this down to 3x4, which is the size of the pocket that will hold it. So I'm just going to shrink it even more because it's a little too big. And it doesn't need to be large. I just want it to kind of fill the space at the top. I'm holding down my shift key as I resize it to make sure that it doesn't distort. And I think I want there to be an equal amount of distance from the top and the sides, so I think that looks pretty good. I'll just leave it like that, and I'll stamp the dates below it. And so that's another way to use the digital elements. And now I have one more photo that I wanted to add a digital element to, and that is, okay, this is the photo I wanted to add another piece to. So this is like on the drive on the way up to Midway, or I think it actually, maybe it was on the way home. Either way, I'm going to put this little Let's Go digital piece on it, but you can see if I put it on here, it's yellow and it looks pretty nice, but I don't want the yellow. I want to get a bit of a softer color. And so what I want to do is I'm just going to change the color to kind of a light blue tone that I'm going to pull from the mountains. And so I'm going to go ahead and delete that off of there. I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, and I'm going to invert the colors of this because I want the words to be white. And so I will go to Image, Adjustments, Invert, and it's going to change it to blue, this bright blue, but the black it will change to blue. Or I mean the black it changes to white, so that's good. But I don't want the bright blue. So what I'm going to do is grab my color picker tool, and I'm going to come to this photo, and I'm going to grab a color from the mountains, and I think I want even like more gray blue than that one. This one looks kind of nice, so let's see how that looks. Might be a little too light. Let's see, I don't want it too dark, so I'm just going to play around and find until I find a color I like. Okay, I kind of like this one. Then I'm going to grab my paint bucket tool and come back here and just fill that in. So now I can go ahead and move this over here, and I am just going to center it, and I'm trying to decide if I want it that big, or I could have it be as big as the 3x4 size is. I can enlarge it to that size. Let's see. Actually, I really like that. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then if I want to, I can write a little bit on here or do some stamping. So I'm just stretching it across the entire 3x4, and I really like the way that looks. And so now I'm ready to print off the different cards and elements and put my layout together. But I wanted to show you that process of how I kind of do things in Photoshop beforehand, often for my project life spreads especially. Okay, so I have my photos printed. I'm going to apologize right now for the glare. But what I'm going to do is, like I said, I like to have my date card up in the top left. So I'm going to place that here. I've already decided that I'm going to have a little insert. So this is just a divided page that's just like this one that I cut 2 pockets off of. So this is going to go in the middle just because I had a little weekend trip and I wanted to give it a little bit more focus. And so that trip is going to go with the 6x8 here, which looks tiny. Why does it look like it doesn't even fit here? I think I must have printed it at the wrong size. I'm going to have to reprint this. I will reprint my 6x8 because this is obviously smaller than that. Let me see what size it actually is. It's like 5.5 by 7.5. That's really weird. Okay, I will reprint that photo, but it's going to go there. I'm going to have this photo here, which is part of this story, as well as this one. This is the friend that came with me. So these 3 photos go together. And then on this side, I am going to have, I haven't decided exactly how I want to lay this out yet, but something where I have 2 places for journaling and maybe even a filler card. I haven't had room for a filler card for so long. So I have a bunch of past story kit cards that I want to try to use here. Or I might go back and look, since I have to reprint this anyway, to see if there's any cards that might work for this spread that are from the March kit. So we'll see about that. But I'm thinking about using one of these kind of journaling cards, maybe around here. I like the way that one looks a little bit. Yeah, I want it to be fairly neutral, I think. Maybe adding in a pop of yellow because there's yellow there, but I'll do that somewhere else. And I'm thinking, because these are both, like this is in my bed and this is my cat laying on a mess of blankets of my daughter's, that I might separate those. So it might be something like this. But I'm going to go ahead and reprint and I'll come back. Okay, so here you can see I've reprinted my photo at 6x8, and I also printed a 3x4 journaling card, which is from that the digital kit, and I printed it on the photo paper because I was already printing on photo paper, and I think it's fine that it's going to be shiny like a photo, and I'll just use a black Sharpie to write on that. So I'm glad I have this extra photo because I'm going to use it as a test to write the word getaway under the word midway that I printed on the photo. And I'm just using a black Sharpie for that. And I like the way it looks, so I go ahead and add it to the real photo and slide that into the page protector. I'm going to slide the photos that go along with this weekend trip onto this side of the 3x8 insert. And I like the way that's looking. So now I'm going to go ahead and decide where I want the rest of the week's photos to go. And I'm going to play around with placement a little bit. I don't want, so one of the pictures is our cat on the bed, and one of them is me with my heated blanket on the bed, and I don't want those two next to each other, so I'm thinking I'll place them opposite. And I decide to go with that little I am card. It says I am over and over again on it. That's from the Me Story Kit, which is a few months back. And I'm going to use that for my journaling, and I'll tell you about that more in a second. Right now, I'm using a black Stays On ink pad to stamp the dates of the week, and then I just used a black Sharpie to draw a line in between. And I am going to use some chipboard elements. I'm looking through past Story Kit stickers and chipboard pieces for some yellow. The photo of my daughter's Valentine's that she insisted on making herself, that bottom left photo, have a bright yellow cat on them, and so I'm thinking I need to add a little bit more yellow in. I did add some on that 3x4 card that I printed off, and so I'm looking for one more little yellow pop I can add. This is from that little chipboard flag that I was playing with, is from the Bond Story Kit, which you can still get, I think, until tomorrow if you're watching this currently, if you're watching it right as the video comes out. And I will end up bringing that back later because it matches so well. It says this, just this, and I will end up using that. And now I'm going to use a black Sharpie, or nope, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm using a white Jane Davenport pen. I think it's called, let me just look at it here, Paint Over pen. In its unicorn is the color, and it's white, and I'm using that to write So Snugly, and then I'm using a white Jelly Roll pen to write out some journaling about how the cat likes to sit on a pile of blankets on the guest bed in the playroom. And now I'm playing around again with trying to figure out what yellow I want to incorporate. So while I'm deciding, I go ahead and write some journaling about the ring that's in the top left photo that says reach. My bestie gave me that for Valentine's Day, and it's my one little word for the year. And I'm just writing a little note about that. She gave it to me a day early because she knew that I was having a bad day, and that was so super sweet, and I was grateful for that. So just writing that story there. And again, I use my black Sharpie because I'm writing on photo paper. And now I'm going to think about what I want to add to my larger photo here. I couldn't find my big Sharpie, and so I just had this kind of brush pen, and I wanted to see if it would work on the photo, so I tested it, and it did. And so I wrote heated blanket for the win. That handwriting turns out awful. I maybe should have reprinted the photo, but I was too lazy, so whatever, it's there. I'm using these little white puffy stickers from Freckled Fawn, and I'm stapling them on. I love the way stapling looks around a puffy sticker. I think it's just a cool texture. And I stapled one to my date photo and then also one on the journaling card that I printed. And I used this sticker from Ellie's Studio to write some journaling, and I put it on the photo above my daughter's Valentine's to just talk about that a little bit. And now I'm going to write on this card that says I am. And I'm just writing some things that have to do with the week. So it says, I'm loving my heated blanket, long for it when we aren't together. I am getting mad at Crookshanks for being naughty, then loving him, cuteness. I am grateful for the treats Philip got me for Valentine's Day, and I am grateful we went to dinner last week so we didn't have to brave the crowds. I am laughing because Mal wanted to make sure her Valentines weren't lovey. I am so grateful that CJ has Fridays off so we could sneak away Thursday night. I am still thinking about how nice it was to get away to Midway for 2 days. I am wondering if we could go away every weekend. Probably not. #adulting. I am loving the weather. Nice with some rainy days mixed in. I am grateful for my experiences this week. So that's what the journaling says. And now I'm again looking through some of these products to see if there's anything I might want to add. And I decide to keep things really, really very simple. But I did add one little word sticker. This is from the Review story kit. That was December's. It says what real life looks like. And then I added a little yellow wonderful below that, which is a card from the Me story kit. And now I've flipped over to the back to the second part of the spread, and I'm going to add some more of these little heart puffy stickers. And I added one right above Here's the Story on the large photo. And I wanted to use some of the Bond story kit chipboard pieces, but I felt like it was just too much. I wanted to keep things really focused on the photos and not put something on every single photo. And so I decided to put a heart below Let's Go, and because I did that, I moved that card to the bottom. I didn't want it right across from the other heart that's on the other side. And so I'm just trying to create some balance there. And I will end up stamping the dates that we went away for the weekend. We just went Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm going to stamp that above the words Let's Go. I'm still thinking about trying to add something to that top photo of me and my friend CJ, but I decide not to in the end. But I will play around with it a bunch and move things around and go back and forth in my mind. I just thought another label, you can see to the left, there's like a long thing that says Story of Life, and then there's labels below that on the photo below that. And I just thought it was too many things that had a long label shape to it, and I wasn't loving it. So I decide not to. Here's where I'm going to stamp the dates really quickly. And so just stamping the dates that we went away to Midway. So this is kind of like its own little mini spread about the weekend. I didn't include all the photos from that weekend because I'm going to create a layout as well. Thought about using that Better Together circle, didn't end up doing it. And I'm just going to go ahead and add that heart sticker and staple it down and add everything into the pockets. And this spread is going to be complete. Just need to trim down my photo a little bit to make it fit. But I hope that you have enjoyed. There are some still photos coming up. And if you have any questions, just leave me a comment in the video description. I will link to Allie's shop where you can get this awesome digital kit, and I will link to any other available products as well. You can also head over to my blog at craftygenscow.com where I will have photos and more information too. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.